Welcome to today's show, and with me is Lauren Hendrie. Lauren Hendrie just knocked on my door, and she has some interesting stories about moonshine and bootlegging. Welcome, yes. Lauren.
Thank you, Holger. Thanks for having me on such an unexpected notice.
That's what it's all about. Lauren, you tell me that you are from Midlands Distillery.
Yes, we are a micro distillery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why can't I hear you? Let me just try and pick it up a bit. Okay. A micro distillery out in the Midlands.
Yes, so we're currently based out in Cramond, just behind Albert Falls.
Okay.
We're on a beautiful farm out there.
And you get there on the way to New Hanover, the Greytown Road?
Yes.
Or do you come through Carcloof?
You can come through Carcloof.
Okay.
It's just with those dirt roads, it can be a little bit heavy going on your vehicle. So we tend to come out on that Greytown Road.
Okay.
And then turn.
All the mountain bikers know where Carcloof is, and all the Germans know where New Hanover is.
Yes. That's so true.
So we'll find you. But it's not something that, you don't have anything that people can see there, or it's not open to the public, is it?
It isn't open to the public just yet. At the moment, we're in quite a small distillery space. And when we first looked at our premises, when we were working towards getting our license, we thought, this will be ample space. And it's taken us 9 months to get our micro manufacturing license.
Only?
I know. I was quite surprised that it came through at 9 months. We were expecting longer, but we were delighted when it came through early. And in that time frame, we have filled that warehouse like you can't believe.
With spirits.
So, yeah, wow. Well, just with equipment as well. We have 2 stills, we've got fermentation tanks, we store our bottles. So between just the grain and your bottles and the stills and your bottling equipment, it fills the space very quickly. So at the moment we are outgrowing our space.
Okay.
So as much as we're very proud of it and we love our distillery, when we want to open it for tours, we'd love to be in a space that's better suited for
a touristy kind of area.
Yes, for the public to come and visit. Also, we're based on a working farm at the moment, so the owners have been absolutely incredible in allowing us to start our distillery on their premises, but I don't think they'd be too happy if they had hundreds of visitors hoarding out of their working farm.
So tell us the background. You said earlier that it's an old abandoned winery.
Yes, so the building was initially erected by the son of the people who own the farm, and they were going to bring out a wine, and sadly it didn't come to fruition. But it was an old building that was initially built to be a winery that we've converted into a distillery. We've learnt a lot in the process. We had initially dreamt of being able to build our distillery from scratch, but having now gone this route where we've learnt, we would have made so many mistakes if we had built from scratch. So it's been such a blessing in being able to use this space as our learning curve for when one day we do have our dream premises, we can then do everything right the first time.
And is it on the Petey's Lake farm, or is it Petey's Lake is the resort?
So Petey's Lake is the resort down at the smaller dam, and we're based on Corndean Farm, which is Robin Fay Petey's farm.
I know
beautiful,
Robin Fay,
beautiful farm. They currently have beautiful orchards. For us to work, it's a beautiful place to work.
Well, I hope that you stay there and you don't move to the touristy Midlands.
Oh, well, thank you, Holger. It is a beautiful farm. It really is.
We're taking a few steps back. Let's start at the beginning. How did this whole idea get into your head?
Or
was it your partner?
You've got a partner. Yes. So this was Angelo's idea, and
what's his name?
Angelo Wilkie Page.
Okay.
He was an explorer before he was a distiller.
How does an explorer make a living?
So he was running an expedition called Expedition 720, where he aimed to be the first person to circumnavigate the globe from east to west and pole to pole under human power. So to date, he has crossed from LA all the way up to Alaska. So he's done majority of North America via bike, kayak, pulling a sledge when it got too bad, you name it. And sadly, when we met, when he was planning to paddle across the Bering Strait to Russia, so he was going to paddle from Alaska to the first little island, Little Diomede, to the second island, Big Diomede, and across to Russia.
Wow.
And sadly, politics played quite a big role in putting a hamper on that. And he decided to put the expedition on hold and build his own business. And when he came back, I'll never forget the one evening he sent me a text message saying, I'm going to make moonshine. And I really did.
So is he South African?
He is South African, from Pietermaritzburg.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll never forget that day when he said, no, I'm going to make moonshine. And I read that text message and I thought, okay, all right.
Whatever.
All right.
So
yeah.
Did you know what moonshine was then?
My knowledge of moonshine was what us as South Africans typically know about your sort of your Witblitz or your mampoer, and I don't think I had enough of a knowledge about moonshine. And only when Angelo got back and we actually started doing our R&D for the product did we actually start tasting it, and I thought, sure, this is really it's a craft spirit. Well, the way we manufacture it you end up with a really beautiful spirit at the end of the day.
What's the timeline?
So the timeline, for when we first started R&D.
Yeah, when you got that text.
This was, it must have been, because he went on his distilling course in October last year. Okay. So it must have been a good 2 months before that. So no.
About a year ago.
Yeah, so we were incredibly excited. I mean, when we set our goals for what we wanted to achieve in the coming year, I think we were just ecstatic that we managed to get our micro-manufacturing license within a year and managed to release our first product within a year, and so it has been very exciting. It's had its moments where it's been quite stressful. Anyone who's gone through the process of applying for a manufacturing license or a liquor license will know the frustrations that it involves, but we were delighted with the result.
So I can remember 10, 15, 20 years ago there was a Midlands Distillery, so I'm surprised that you've got the name.
Yeah, so
there was a guy in Maritzburg who traded, and I don't think he was very successful. He had a few retailers buying something from him, and it was Midlands Distillery.
Oh, wow.
But he must have closed and the name must have lapsed.
Yeah, so when we first decided on what we were going to name our distillery, we both love the Midlands, and that's something that we'd love to call home one day. With Angelo being based in Hilton at the moment, currently in Hillcrest.
We're all explorers.
Yes, I know. I know, right? We'd love to...
Except Kingsley Holgate.
Yes.
He doesn't live in Hilton.
No, he doesn't. But we'd love to live in the Midlands. And when we decided on the name, we did a check, we began the process of registering the company, and it was available. And we were delighted, because for us that was a really iconic name that we thought people would relate to.
Okay, but for me, Peter's Farm is also in the Midlands.
Yes. Well, I like to think so. It is. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And the farmers who have farms out there are lucky. It's a beautiful spot.
Okay. So tell us what moonshine is. Because everybody asks me, where must I put this in the bottle store? Where does moonshine belong?
So that was actually a question we had to ask ourselves, especially when it came to going to apply for our A code and all of the logistical things. We've actually had to put it under spirit aperitif because in essence...
The flavoured ones.
Yes, the flavoured ones fall under spirit aperitif. However, we had to categorize it as an unspecified spirit in terms of the classifications that you get for your A codes. However, I mean, for us, if we were to take our White Lightning moonshine and barrel it for 3 years, we'd end up with a whiskey. So for us, it's an unaged whiskey that we've termed bootlegger moonshine. So for us, that beautiful grain flavour that you get definitely reminds us more of a whiskey than any other spirit. So that
rather
grain flavour is
vodka
beautiful.
Or cane spirit.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of positioning it for the poor bottle stores who...
We've created a new challenge.
Yes. But and the problem is, and it's a problem because, and I can relate to it because I published a beer book and nobody wakes up one morning and says, I'm looking for a beer book. The only time they look for that is when they want to start brewing, and my book doesn't really help them how to brew. It takes them to all the breweries.
Yes.
But nobody says, oh, today I'm going to buy moonshine. So nobody walks into the bottle store and says, I want moonshine, and then the bottle store manager can say, this is where I keep all the moonshine. you have to place it somewhere where the people will buy it by accident.
Yes.
Unless you're doing a promotion in the store. So let's agree on a place to put the stuff.
I would definitely put it under your other party spirits. Because for us,
spirits.
yes, because for us, the moonshine that Angelo encountered while he was in America was the party drink.
Yeah.
And whenever he had the opportunity to taste it, it was drunk in a real party setting, and people were
not a
drinking
serious
it.
bunch.
No, and I mean they were pouring it straight out the jar into their glasses. There was spillage, and he just said it had such a party feel to it.
Okay.
So I would definitely place it under that section of the bottle store where you get your real unique party drinks.
Okay.
Because it is really unique in itself, and I think that's the challenge, is that there isn't any.
Yeah, there's a lot of education to be done.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if I look at the White Lightning, which is your 43%, just a grain spirit, I mean, I'm tempted to put it with the whiskies. That one. That's fine. Because it is an unaged whiskey.
Yes.
But then it wants to stay with its siblings.
No, it needs to be with the siblings.
The siblings need to be in the party section because they
Exactly.
35% and not enough sugar to be a liqueur, I guess.
Exactly, no. So what we really love about this product is its versatility. So for us, you can drink any of the 4 flavors as a shot.
Okay, what are the 4 flavors?
So our first flavor is the White Lightning, which is the pure grain spirit. No, and it's you will get a grainy taste from it, and quite a bite, because it's at 43%. So that's potent. So I mean, if you're wanting to have a big chug out the jar or have a shot, it's strong.
And do you use that for cocktails or something?
Yes. So as you'll see on the jar, we've actually attached 4 cocktail suggestions for each flavor. So different ways that you can mix the White Lightning into one of your favorite cocktails. So we've made a spin on a couple of cocktails that we feel it really works well with. The second flavor we have is one of our favorites, Omar's apple pie. And
it sounds half American and half Afrikaans.
It's definitely, for us, it definitely has a South African feel, because my gran makes a really wicked apple crumble. And for me, when I smell it and when I taste it in a drink, it reminds me of my gran's apple crumble. And especially when you sniff the reduction before you put it into the alcohol, it just smells like apple crumble.
So the flavouring, how is it? It's not synthetic then?
No, so we actually cook up our own reduction. So we use a big pot and we mix in 100% apple juice. We mix in vanilla
Isn't it just
cloves.
easier to get phone the flavouring house?
You can. I think because obviously this is our first spirit, we really put ourselves in it, and we've done everything ourselves so that we know how to do it. And
because only 5 years ago, when caramel vodka came on the market in these beautiful flask bottles, and it was $1 million success overnight. I mean, that was completely synthetic, am I right?
Yeah.
And now, 5 years later, no synthetic stuff, everything is handmade.
Yes.
Isn't it interesting?
It is. And I think for us, it's been important because
But do you think
we want to know
people
what,
appreciate that?
I think your true craft.
You've got to tell the story 400 times before anybody believes you.
Yeah, I think
It's hard to
your
believe.
true craft. Well, your people who appreciate a true craft spirit will appreciate that it's truly handcrafted, because it's very easy to write handcrafted on your label.
It is.
It is. And
nothing stops you from doing that.
yeah, and I mean, a lot of these first batch of bottles that we've done are truly handcrafted, because it's been quite a mission getting our machines calibrated, our labeling machines and our filling machines.
It does look like you labelled it by hand.
No, it doesn't. So a lot of this first batch
it's pretty square.
were hand labelled with love and care, and until we're eventually getting our machines calibrated so that it labels to perfection. But so when I say handcrafted, this for us is really a true handcrafted spirit. So for me, I think we love the Omar's apple pie because we feel it is so uniquely South African. And it's lovely because that is a drink that's very drinkable on the rocks. It's lovely with a tonic, even if you're a bit of a sweet tooth, to mix it with a Sprite. And then we've also again made suggestions of different cocktail mixes. And one of my favorites is a little hottie, where you mix 2 shots of the Omar's apple pie with hot spice tea, lemon and honey. And
how do you make the tea?
So you just brew your tea in boiling water, mix in your 2 shots of moonshine and some lemon and honey, and it's sure does warm you up.
Okay.
So for us, we really love the Omar's apple pie, and I think because for me it reminds me of my gran.
And where did you? Was she on a farm or?
No, my gran. We've actually been very blessed. My gran has lived next door to us since we were 2, so we've had many evenings helping gran cook.
In Hilton.
I'm actually from Hillcrest.
Hillcrest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been very blessed to have my gran next door to me for almost all my life, and watched her bake, helped her cook, lick the batter, you name it. And then one of our other flavors, which actually is one of my favorites, is the rose. And I didn't anticipate loving this product as much as I have. And for me, my favorite way to drink the rose is with tonic. It really, the essence that we have for the rose has a lovely, almost a little bit of a fruity undertone to it. So you have that floral smell and that little floral taste that leaves on your tongue, but it's not potently floral. It's got a beautiful, gentle note to it, and I've really loved drinking it with tonic. But again, we've made 4 different cocktails of different ways that you can mix the rose. We've got some
and what's the difference between that and a pink gin?
So that actually, funny enough, I deciphered the difference the other day, because
no juniper berries.
like any other girl who doesn't love Musgrave pink gin? It's beautiful. It's beautiful in its bottle. It's divine to drink. And when Angelo poured me a glass of the rose mixed with some tonic water, I said to him, "Oh my goodness me, this reminds me so much of the Musgrave gin because of the pink flavour that you get, or the pink colouring that you get through your drink, and that rose and floral flavour. Except you don't get that hint of juniper, and that for me is the difference. Is for all the girls who love a good gin, this reminds me very much of a gin, but without that juniper note. So that's what classifies a gin, is the juniper.
Gin has to have juniper.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is very different to a gin, but for me it's just as drinkable as a good gin. Yeah.
So Simone from Musgrave was one of my first interviews on my podcast. Yeah.
She's got a beautiful product.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, when Angela and I speak of gins, Musgrave is up there as one of our favourites, both of their brands.
For me, it's 90% presentation and marketing.
Yes.
But obviously the product is exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, they were brilliant, and when they brought out their rose gin, it's one of a kind. It's beautiful. Yeah.
So you must go back and listen to that.
I definitely will. And then our last flavour is actually a limited edition, which I'm quite heartsore about because it's been really popular amongst...
What's about this one? Oh, it's also...
Yeah, it's been really popular amongst a lot of our friends who've tasted our product, especially the guys. We took a Indian Pale Ale and ran it through our still. And this beautiful limited edition IPA is what came out. And it's got a lovely fruity taste, but still that hop sort of aftertaste. It is lovely, and a lot of our friends have really enjoyed drinking it on the rocks.
The beer?
So, that's a trade secret, because we're secretly hoping to be able to get our hands on another barrel
batch.
From them, because I really do think it's going to be one of the most popular ones, especially amongst the lads.
Yeah.
But sadly, we only managed to get a barrel from them, and this is what we ended up with, and we've loved it. So this on the rocks, or with a Sprite for a bit of a sweet tooth, or otherwise with tonic, is hell of a nice.
So we'll make a call to all the brewers.
If anyone wants to get rid of any of their lager, they know who to send it to, because once you put it through the still, it's lovely. And this run was particularly nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are our 4 flavors at the moment, but we certainly are wanting to expand, and we're actually hoping to bring out a Christmas edition just before Christmas a cherry Christmas for a little bit of a pun on Merry Christmas.
Okay.
So that's something we'd love to bring out just before Christmas, because for us these are the perfect stocking fillers. Like as a gift for Dad, because poor dads always get socks or golf balls. So for Dad to maybe get a jar of moonshine with his socks would be a nice change.
So the challenge is to make this with any micro distiller is for me, it's either a Patstaleki product and you end up only being sold in the Patstalekis in the Western Cape, or it becomes crafty and mainstream and the bottle stores actually sell it. I've got some of my friends who have micro distillers and they really struggle to get it to market because it's too crafty. Patstaleki is the only word I don't know of another word to describe it. And my friend Stefan from Clarence, who owns a brewery and a distillery there, makes a liqueur in a swing top bottle, and he says the only time we sell this is if somebody comes to Clarence and he needs a gift for the guy who looks after their dog. So we don't want these products to end up in that category.
No, most certainly not. And for us, I think what we love about this product is that it is the price range that we're wanting to market it in is affordable. So if you're on your way to a bar and you want to take a drink, for us, ideally, pick up a bottle of moonshine, because it just, not only can you drink it on the rocks or with a mix that your host might have on hand, but if you really want to be creative, you can mix up some really inventive cocktails. And for us, ideally, we want to price it, yes, it is a craft spirit, but we don't want it to be one of those exorbitantly expensive craft spirits that only the very select few can afford. This is definitely a product that we want everyone to enjoy, which is why when we marketed it, we wanted it to sit at a really reasonable price on the shelf, so that ideally we want as many people as possible to enjoy our moonshine. And for it to be sort of the iconic South African party drink.
Okay. And the name bootlegger moonshine, that, I mean, it's what it's supposed to be.
Well, when we were debating the name, Angelo decided, he just said bootlegger moonshine, and we both agreed on the spot. And for me, it really encapsulates the history of moonshine, and bootlegging. I mean, back in the day, bootlegging came from when soldiers used to slip bottles of their little pants into their boots or under their leg trousers, and that's where bootlegging came from.
Not from a boot of a car, which...
so some of the research that we've done is from the old Civil War. So, I mean, people have been bootlegging for a long time. And obviously now, thank goodness, it's legal. But we just love the term bootlegging, and we just felt like it really did justice to the product. And especially our little Landy logo, that was our South African touch, because...
So every craft distiller and every craft brewer needs a Landy.
Well, I mean, that's Angelo's dream. Gosh, I think he'd be the happiest man if I brought home a Landy one day and said Merry Christmas.
Maybe after this December. What is this little metal piece?
So you've discovered the nails. So if I open this jar for you, we love the fact that we wanted to sell it in a mason jar, because moonshine, it just fitted the mason jar so well.
So explain that.
So in America, where sort of moonshine really first started, they all drink it straight out of the mason jar. I mean,
what is a mason jar?
Mason jar for us South Africans would be a jam jar. Yes, for what we would refer to as a jam jar. And we just felt like it really suited our product, that it came in the traditional mason jar. But what we found is, as most people will know, jars sometimes don't always seal 100%. So what we've done is we've put in a foil seal inside the mason jar to prevent any leakage. And what you then do is take that little nail that we've attached there and you pierce 2 holes into the foil seal, just so that you have a bit of an easier or a smoother pour. Look, if you're busy having a bit of a jaw, I don't think anyone's going to mind if it's a clean or a messy pour. But for those who are a little bit more refined, we felt that it would just ensure a bit of a cleaner pour into their whiskey glass. And when we were looking for something to pierce the foil, we discovered those nails, and we just said, that fits the product to a T. Yeah.
A lot of manual labor, though.
Yes.
If you get an order for 10,000 bottles.
So at the moment, obviously, because we are a micro distillery and a new business, Angela and I do it all.
Yeah.
And obviously, when we can afford to, we would love to employ good long-term staff that can help share the burden of things like tying nails onto the bottles. And I think, obviously, I love doing it now because we want our product to be perfect. And both Angela and I tend to micromanage. So I think it's going to be really hard for us one day to eventually hand that job over to someone else because we just want every bottle to be perfect and want everyone to be the same. And I think we were actually chatting about it the other day and we said it's going to be hard when we eventually hire someone and say, okay, now this is this is how you do it. Please do it with the same love and care that we do. But yeah, I think that's something we're going to have to do one day because we can't do it all. So we're going to have to eventually start employing staff to help us along the way. But for now, it's Angela and I.
Yeah. So I used to sell a vodka brand.
Yeah.
And sometimes the vodka would arrive here without any labels, and we'd set up a labeling plant in my garage.
Oh, really?
And we'd apply our stickers with the same love and care of a handcrafted moonshine, except we sold our vodka for $50 in the dark streets of Pietermaritzburg.
Oh, that's brilliant. And it's amazing when you start doing it yourself. I think that's also something I've learned now that I've started speaking to people about selling the product is I'm so excited about it because we've enjoyed drinking it and we've seen how it's been made, and so you innately are in love and proud of your product. And obviously when you go to most bottle stores, they just kind of want to know if it's going to sell.
So
you expect that same enthusiasm and awe when you show them your product. And the bottle stores that I've spoken to already have been amazing, and a lot of them have been very enthusiastic, which was very exciting for me. But there have been one or two that were kind of like, oh, okay, that's nice. Yeah. And I think when it's your handcrafted product, you innately expect people to really fall in love with it as much as you have. But again, it takes time, and it takes people actually tasting your product to realize, sure, I'll have this again.
Yeah. It certainly, I mean, to sell your own product is a privilege because as soon as you hand it over to a distributor, you can't hand over the enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's so true.
And so I think it's the most important thing that you can do is sell your own product. And probably the most successful way is to sell it out of the boot of your car.
Yeah, well, I never knew my little Grand R10 would be stocked so full of alcohol. And I think for my friends who know me, I'm a bit of a lightweight, so it really doesn't take much to get me a little bit tipsy. And I've never really been the biggest drinker, so when I announced that I was closing my OT practice to work at the distillery full time, I think there were quite a few shocked faces who thought, Lauren, at a distillery. And I now my little Grand R10's packed full with boxes of moonshine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's funny how life takes you in such a different path.
So I'll tell you a story. When I spent a lot of time at Hillcrest Tops. So Hillcrest Tops has become the ultimate destination for craft beer, first of all, and now craft spirits. And one day I was standing there, and this beautiful lady walks in, and she introduces herself to me and says, "I'm from Durban Brewing Company." I said, "It can't be. I would have heard about the Durban Brewing Company," and the same happened today. And when Taryn walked in, I gave her a hug, and I said, "No, you got to have a hug. I mean, you can't just walk into Hillcrest Tops and announce yourself as the Durban Brewing Company, and we've never heard of you."
Exactly.
And you did the same. You said, "I'm from the Midlands Distillerie Company." I said, "Why have I never heard of you?"
And it's funny because I definitely heard of you. Your name had popped up a few times, and when it popped up again today, I said, "I have to phone this man."
Yeah.
I can't have heard his name so many times and not given him a buzz. So.
Yeah. So I think the important thing for you now on your next steps is not to go to those stupid bottle store owners that will not appreciate you and that'll wear you down.
Oh, thank you, Holger.
So I need to put up a whole lot of red flags where not to go to.
And where to go to.
Definitely. Because it's quite... It's nice when you walk into a bottle store where they appreciate your product.
It's lovely.
And when they don't, it's not nice.
Yeah. And for me, I'm all about relationships. And for me, when you can obviously build a relationship with a store owner and that becomes a long-term relationship, that's even more enjoyable because then you can pop in and have a chat and...
Exactly.
Just for me, that just makes work so much more pleasurable. And it was actually quite exciting. We dropped off one of our first orders at the Meander Fine Wines at Piggly Wiggly, and the couple who own it are lovely. And I actually popped back the next day. I was driving past and I needed to chat to them about something. And I popped in. They said, "Oh, it's so nice to see you. We've actually just sold your one of your first bottles of moonshine." I said to them, "Really?" I was so excited. And they said, "But you're not going to believe it. It was the most unlikely of customers." Apparently it was an older lady who came in and bought the first bottle of moonshine because she needed a gift for a friend. So they said out of all the clientele who they expected to buy the moonshine, they never expected it to be an elderly lady who'd waft in and say, "I need a gift and I think this is perfect." Yeah. So we thought that was quite brilliant, is that it's just so unexpected. And that's the thing, is it can appeal to everyone. When we showed it to our folks, I mean, it's amazing how my folks and even their friends have really enjoyed drinking the moonshine. And I think that's what's really appealed to us. As much as it really does suit the iconic party era for South Africa, it really can appeal to anyone who just wants a really good drink that's also affordable, but has been crafted with a lot of love and care to taste darn good. Yeah.
Okay, so do you know the other distillers in KZN? So let's start. In the north, we've got Topanga.
Topanga, yes.
Have you been there?
Angelo has been there, and they, wow. Topanga have a beautiful, beautiful distillery and a beautiful product.
Yeah.
Their rum is one of a kind.
Rum, which is rum agricole.
Yes, and one of the only estate rums, which I think is amazing to know that it goes from start to finish
on the farm,
crafted on the farm. I think it's incredible. And Topanga have actually been incredible to Angelo. They were fantastic in just giving advice. And when we started this business, it's been incredible to see how open people have been to just sharing advice. You'll chat to someone who'll say, "Oh, you must speak to so-and-so. They'll be able to help you out." Or speak to so-and-so about advice for this. And we just cannot believe how open and welcoming people have been. And Topanga were definitely one of those people who just were so incredible when Angelo went to go and see their distillery and chat to them. They were lovely. So great team out there.
And then Andrew at 031?
Yes, we've actually been there. We've had drinks there, and they make a fantastic gin. We really loved their gin. That was something we've enjoyed drinking.
Let me try and think. I think Notty's Rawdon's Hotel has now got a little ginnery or gin distillery.
Yes.
So, and then you guys. So I'm not aware of... I know there used to be a distillery in Newcastle.
Oh, really?
But I never saw the product, and I don't really know what they were doing. I think they were distilling maize and making... I don't know where the product went.
Sure.
I can't even remember what it was called. Northern Natal Distillers or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But besides that...
It's just the four of us from what we know,
And I'm sure overnight there'll be 44.
Yeah, you can even see it in Cape Town. Hope on Hopkins were some of the first to start, and many followed. And it's definitely boomed. Even in the last year, from when we applied out for our license, we've heard of more and more popping up down in the Cape. So it's definitely growing.
Is there a way to check with where did you have to apply for your license?
So we had to go down to the KZN Liquor Authority down in Durban.
Where the bottle stores apply as well?
Yes. So we apply through the same department. Okay. Yes, yeah.
And that is not a very nice department, is it?
Oh, look, we had a wonderful contact. Again, all these incredible people who have been recommended to us. We had a contact for a lawyer who works for bottle stores and people who are trying to apply for their licenses. He sort of just helps you.
You want to mention the name?
Shame. I'm worried to mention the name, and then poor chap gets flooded with with queries.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's a hell of a nice chap, and he just said to us, he sort of gave us a list of who to speak to, what to do, what not to do. He helped check all our documents beforehand, so he was definitely a huge asset in making sure, and I think that's why it came through so quickly in those 9 months. But look, it is still as much as we had help, it is still a very frustrating process because obviously they post you all your documents and there's no email or, or follow-up. It's all...
There's no posting increment, is it?
No, so we get everything posted to our offices in Hilton, but even that is, it's still, it takes time, and it's, and I think for us, the biggest thing we learned was to be the squeaky wheel. We phoned and phoned and phoned and phoned. And like they say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and that was definitely a lesson we learned in dealing with government, is you just have to squeak a lot.
Okay. Well, that's an exciting. I'm glad you phoned me, and where's this available now? In the Midlands, you've got it at...
so currently at Meander Fine Wines, they stock our product, and the wine cellar along the Rosetta Road, and Hilton Tops, and those are our first three. Yes, at the Quarry. Lovely centre. And those are our stores who currently hold our product.
We'll certainly get it into a few more here in Hilton.
Thank you. That'd be great. We're busy, and what we are busy doing is updating our website, because what we'd love to do is on our website have a page with little pin locations and photos of the different stores that stock our products. So if anyone is interested, they can go to bootleggermoonshine.co.za and have a look on the location page to locate any bottle stores that do stock the product. And it's obviously great because then other bottle stores just helps to get feed through for other stores that we love and who have supported us.
And have you got a Facebook and a Twitter thing?
We do have Facebook. It hasn't been launched yet. Okay. Like I said, we're micromanaging, so we want it to be perfect before we load it. But we're expecting it to be up and running in the next week. So
I'll take a few pictures and put it on my Facebook page.
Awesome.
Thanks, Lauren, and very nice chatting to you.
Yeah, you too.
We'll see you in the trade, man.
Thank you.
Cheers.